The future has come.
Why are we here? What do we want to do briefly in this session? We want to reflect on our current assessment practice. That is real life. What is happening in terms of assessment? We want to reflect on it. We want to appraise the results that we have been getting. So this is a very practical session. The results that you and I have been getting when we carry out assessments. We want to articulate what we really want to achieve. We want to identify types of assessments, and we want to actually practice an assessment tool. We're going to try our hands on an assessment tool. That's why we're here. That's what we're going to do here. Now we've done the next two slides. So what I would like us to think about, what is assessment? Your definition, your understanding. What is assessment? Again, I want you to talk to your partner. Be yourself, okay? In this class, nobody is wrong. Do we understand? So feel free to say it the way you understand it. Because you are going to learn from me, you are going to learn from your colleagues, and we are going to learn from each other. From your understanding, what is assessment all about? Can we talk about it? Maybe somebody on the table, you can jot down what you agree so that you can share it with us. What is assessment? Let's discuss. Let's discuss on our table. Your understanding, your perception, your opinion, your experience.
Yes, submitting. We have submitting evaluation. There's one other one, I think. Before, I know there's before.
You can jot down
and after the teaching.
Your thoughts, your agreement.
The teacher expected the children to carry out. Yes, at the end of the teaching.
Okay. Have we said a bit to ourselves? So who can share with us what your group discussed? Joseph. What your group discussed? Who is ready? Do I have a table ready? What is assessment according to your table? Madam? Now let's listen, please. Yes.
According to my table, assessment to our own discussion is maybe you look at the behavior, that is the behavioral of the children or the pupils in the class, then the attitude towards the learning within the class and outside the class. That is when you can say you can assess. That is our own discussion.
Okay, thank you very much. Another table? Yes, please.
Okay. We are looking at assessment as feedback, trying to get feelings
from... Can you project your voice? We are teachers.
Talking about assessment as feedback. Also talking about it as findings, trying to get information from the kids, what you've given out, has it been effective? And in assessing, we look at it as a two-way thing. Okay, you are not just assessing the kids, but you yourself should be able to know, have I really impacted? So from the outcome of the children, you'll be able to know that.
Okay, another table, yes, please.
My group believes that assessment is just like an evaluation, and it can be in stages. Even before you start teaching, you want to know what they already know. During the teaching, what they are getting, and after the teaching, how perspective has changed.
Beautiful. Another table, thank you.
My belief, we have said that assessment is a way of getting feedback.
Getting feedback.
From the learner to ascertain the level of understanding.
Okay. Another table.
Yeah, we said assessment is the process of engaging one to know who he or she really is and what he or she has known or gained.
What she knows. Okay, you engage the people to find out what they know.
Assessment, to me, it has to do with a set objectives at the beginning of the teaching. You must have an objective. What do you want to achieve at the end of this teaching? What attitude do you want the children to put up at the end of the day? So from the objective, you can now bring out assessment. I mean, another word is evaluation.
Okay.
To test the knowledge.
Okay, which table has not spoken?
Let me contribute in my own way of defining assessment. Assessment to me is the general evaluation of the totality of the children, both morally, academically, and socially.
Okay, evaluation.
In addition to what he said, but that was the area we were looking at too. You know, at the beginning of the class, where there's an objective set, whether the objectives have been achieved. Then look at it from the teacher-student angle, whether to also test the level of assimilation of the child, and also your ability as a teacher to impart the required knowledge.
Thank you very much. Let's start for ourselves. Start for yourself. I'm not proud of you. Let me teach you something. You take it home. Take it to the school. When your children, you know, Mrs. Oni talked about praising your children, encouraging them. So when they have done well, like you have done well in this group discussion, we ask them, children, kiss your brain. How do you kiss your brain? Any clue? We say, kiss your brain. Oh, this is wonderful. Kiss your brain. Can anybody kiss his or her brain? Okay, I should give you the tip. All right, kiss your brain. Wow. Can you do that to yourself? Kiss your brain. You've done very well. Kiss your brain. Good, very well. So we're talking about assessing. It's deliberate. It is planned. It has a purpose. And it's a continuous collection of information. You want to know the performance, you want to know the progress, you want to know what your children have achieved. And like we said, it is evaluation, appraisal. Please don't write, I have given them my slides, because you won't listen. This is an interactive session. Don't write, I've submitted my slides and they promised to send it to all of us. Okay, so it's a kind of measurement. It's a tool that provides information. We talked about feedback, didn't we? So you see why I asked you to kiss your brain. You got it right. It measures not only the students, like that table said, it also measures the teacher. Now, I want to ask us a question. We are very good at assessing our children. Now look at this question. Have you faced assessment? I know you are used to the classroom assessment. For us all to be here, you've done Junior WAEC, you've done the SS3, you've done so many exams, isn't it? But I want to ask you, have you faced assessment outside the classroom walls? Have you faced, and can you think of a very vivid experience where you were assessed outside of the classroom? And how did it go? Who is ready to share an experience with us? Yes. Please use your teacher's voice.
Okay. My name is Michael Obiohamosu. The practical one I faced was my first interview after graduation.
Your first interview?
Yes. I went to the school owner and he told us that we are going to go to the 3 schools he had the next morning. The next morning we took up with him. We went to the first school. He just had a brief meeting with the staff. When we entered the car, he was like, what could you say about this school? Freely. Based on case studies I did in school and other things, and my marketing prowess, I was able to tell him things I was able to see in the school. And he asked me, how do you mean that these things existed in these schools? I gave him the pointers. We went to the second school, to the third school. He asked similar questions. And after that, he then asked me to grade the 3 schools in the ranking order, 1, 2, 3. I did. He then asked me my pointers. I gave him. We went back home in the evening in his house. So after having a roundtable discussion with him, he said we're going to have another section. By then, I quickly sat down. I had my pen, my paper, envelope, photocopies. I settled and I wrote my application and put everything together. When he came back, I submitted it to him. He said, what was that? I said, that's my application. He said, I don't need your application, start job on it. I was like,
all right.
So
it
that was
easy.
mine.
That's a good one. Does anybody have a not so good experience? You were assessed outside the classroom. It was not so good. I would like you to share it. Can anybody share that with us? A not so good assessment experience. Yes, please.
I don't know whether I would say it's not so good, but in my own case, where I'm working right now, when I put up an application and I was asked to meet the owner of the school, and I just got to her office and she asked me to sit down, gave me a comfortable seat with a table, a pen and a paper, without anything apart from my pen and paper, and said, write your essay on the most memorable day of your life. And I was like, this is not what I expected, okay? So I was thrown off balance, and she sat down there with me. She didn't even go out. So I sat down there and I wrote, you know, what I could write. But surprisingly, at the end of the day, I got a 99/100.
Oh, that's a good experience. Does anybody have one? It maybe not an interview. All of us have gone through interviews. An assessment experience. It could be, should I give you ideas? Even when you met your spouse, it's an assessment experience, isn't it? Who would like to share that? How did you package yourself when you knew that it is most likely the golden question was going to be popped up? Who would like to share the experience? These are day-to-day assessment experiences, isn't it? So who would like to share that one? How did you package yourself when you knew the golden question was about to be popped up? Ladies, let's talk up. Ladies, let's share. It's real, isn't it? It's real. Let's talk. You won't make this session fun if you don't talk. Talk now, and I say, yes, thank you very much.
I'm not married because I'm not married.
Okay.
So,
another one.
Yeah, when I was in secondary school, an uncle came. He came to visit us. Unknown to me, I don't know he came to watch me as a person, who I am, what I can do. So during his visit, it's always on me. I don't know the reason. But at the end of the day, when he was leaving, he said, I have to come to Lagos and stay with him. Because he discovered that in some areas I'm okay. Why in some areas he needs to work on me. And those areas he said he needs to work on me were the area I love so much. Like playing football, he said I play too much. So things like that. So
thank you very much. So the other, thank you. Is it the one I asked?
No.
Oh, don't be so boring. Okay.
Actually, I went to my fiance's place, and he asked this little cousin, and I was helping him out with his project on soil. And I don't know much about when it comes to science, and I was trying to help. I think the school, the boy is like a British school. I thought I was helping, and he said, didn't you say you are a teacher? And I said, yes, I am. And he just left me. But to me, I think that what the little boy said was enough to throw, you know, he didn't need to say more. He didn't need to say more. He only said, didn't you say you are a teacher? And I know, as a teacher, I've not done so well there.
Thank you very much. Now, next slide. What I want to ask us now is why I want to assessments. We have defined assessments. Now let's think deeply. In practice, why do we assess? What's the reason behind it? What are we looking for?
We set an objective, we set a goal, we want to achieve that goal. We want to move from plan A to B. So we want to know, is it time to really move to B? Have we achieved our set goal? Will this child be able to perform at the level we are now? So it's a kind of measurement to enable us move forward.
Okay, against certain standard, isn't it? Yes. You have a standard. Yes, please.
I think we assess them to, assessment generally to know strength and weakness and how to help, and if there's behavioral change at the end of the process.
Okay, strength and weaknesses. So we're comparing, aren't we? What else? Why do we assess? Yes,
we also assess to group the student.
Sorry?
We also assess to group the student.
To group placement. Yes. What else? To group the students. Yes.
We also assess in order to find out if we've done our job properly and if we're able to pass across the message that we want to pass across really.
For you want to know how well you have done as a teacher. So we assess. We want to know the quality of the work against certain standard, the quality of the work of your child. And we have curriculum standards, isn't it? For placement, when people come into our schools, you want to know, is this a primary 1 material? Is it a primary 2 material? So we have what do we call it? Entrance examinations that we give pupils. For grading, is an A student, this is a B student. In some schools, they have their A students in maybe grade 1, Ruby, the B students in grade 1, Jade, or whatever. And some, they want mixed ability. Before you can have mixed ability, you need to identify the ability of each child. For reporting, for example, maybe Ministry of Education, isn't it? They have to report about the standard of education in schools. They can say the schools in Bagada, this is the rating for them. The schools on the island, the schools at Ipaja. So it could be for reporting. Also, even within your school, we carry out assessments so that we can report performance. For comparisons, we do analysis. We want to find out how many pupils are rated above 70 or below 50, so that we can work with those who fall short of the school's expectations. And of course, when we have assessed, we take decisions, don't we? The assessment results inform certain decisions that we implement. Now, what do you do to assess currently as a teacher? What do you do in carrying out assessments as a teacher? Can you think, what do you do? Share with your partner, because you are also going to share with me. What are the things that you do in the process of assessment? Step 1, what do you do? Next, what do you do? And then, what do you do? Can you share with your colleagues your current practice? Don't try and tell me the best. What are you doing in your school?
Asking questions.
From there, you know where the child is.
Okay, so can we share with us what is our current practice in assessment? Can I have anybody? What is our current practice in assessment? Yes, please.
Train questions when the
Please, let's
lesson is
listen.
train question when the lesson is going on. It will help you to check if the children are really following the lesson.
Okay. Throwing questions mid-session.
When we are talking about that questions, we have to consider some introverts. Some of the students at times they may be able to know the answer.
So
but
what
for
do
them,
you do, sir?
we accept
I'm
them
asking what we
in
do.
terms of oral and that of written. They can write and they can answer it orally.
In the middle of instruction, do you give them something to write? We're talking about our current practice in the classroom.
Both.
In the
Both
middle of
written,
instruction or at the end?
At the end.
At the end, okay?
We observe them.
Observe, that means you give them something to show.
Yes.
Yes? Any other person? Yes.
Ask you a question, give them assignment in the class after.
Like a classwork?
Like a classwork.
Okay, so we give them classwork like math. You give them some sums to quickly work out, isn't it? Yes, what else?
Give them projects.
We can also test their level of retentive memory through probably mid-term test, maybe at the end of the week test to test their level of retentive.
We have midterm tests. Some of us have continuous assessment coming up. I don't know, every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks. We have end of the term as well, right? Now, I want to ask us, we've been doing these assessments for some years, right? What results have we been getting? From the kind of assessments we have been doing, let's think, what kind of results have we been getting from our children? And are the results satisfactory? What kind of results are we getting? Can somebody tell us?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, when it comes to homework, we discovered that sometimes the kids give their works to their elder ones to do for them. Yes.
So their
we
siblings help them to write
do
the homework.
Because when they come to the class, particularly when I was teaching, I'm not teaching now, I will ask a child, each of them, to come to the board and work it out for me. And then
so you
I will
discovered
know.
a lot of things. Yes. What else? What are the results we are getting now? Yes, please.
Concerning homework, some they don't do their homework. So I later think that beating them won't solve the solution.
It compounds the problem.
After school hour, they will stay in school and do their
So you get them to do their homework after school. They don't go home. Okay?
Yeah, I discovered that some of the children hide under the umbrella of others that do answer these questions when it's a verbal question. So in that case, you make the questions written to hear or to know if they are as well following
So
you.
what you're saying is when we have oral, in the classrooms, maybe there are chorus answers.
Yes.
So you don't really know who said what. Is that what it is? So, okay? Yes?
Through assessment, we'll be able to place them.
What are the results we are getting? What are the results we are getting? That's the question. What are the results, and are we satisfied? We are assessing our pupils in various ways, isn't it? As you have mentioned, what results are we getting? Are we satisfied with the results we're getting from the children? Yes, please.
Like the case of in-between class session question. When Mrs. Oni was on, it's a very, very typical example of a classroom, especially on Mondays and close to weekends. The children are most of the time thinking about what will happen over the weekend, so they are carried away, or what happened over the weekend into Monday. And then, so when you throw in that question, it brings them back into the classroom. And so that is very, very satisfactory.
Okay, now look at that picture. What does it tell you? Some of the assessments we give our children, it gives us this kind of picture. Am I right? Yes. Who can interpret that picture? Can you interpret that picture? Because the kind of assessments we're giving, sometimes we see this picture during the examinations. Can somebody interpret? I want someone who has not spoken. Someone who has not spoken. Can you interpret? Yes, ma'am.
I think seeing that boy there, he's confused.
He's confused.
He's really confused. Why the other girl there knows what she's doing?
She's flowing.
Yes. She's
now,
flowing.
what could have led to this boy's confusion? what could have led. Let's think of the various issues. And maybe you and I, we've done that before in an exam, right? Right? So what led to it? What led to it? Let me not, yes ma'am. Let's listen, please.
He wasn't prepared.
He was not prepared. What does that mean?
He didn't study.
He did not study. Okay. What else?
He's not reading.
He didn't come, because even if you didn't read, if you were in class, you'll be able to do something. So he said lack of concentration. Yes?
I'll base it on the student and the teacher. It means that the assessment method the teacher is using is not working
for that boy. Please, a round of applause. That is quite true. Any other? What else came to our minds? What else came to our minds? It worked for somebody, it did not work for him. What else came to your mind? Just looking at that picture.
Low IQ.
Low. He said low IQ. How many of us agree with that? He said it's low IQ that is disturbing that boy. If you agree, let me see your hand. I do not agree. I do not agree that it's low IQ.
The learning method is what?
The learning method. Is it the learning method?
That is
the way I learned. The teaching method, you mean? The teaching method, not the learning method. The learning method is me. Is the way I take in information. So the teaching method. So we see that we get this kind of scenario, and we too have experienced it, isn't it? And there were several reasons. So the results are not too satisfactory. When you have assessed your children and you look at the result, is it all the time you smile and say, yes, my children did well? Is it always like that? No. And then once in a while, you look at a particular pupil and you wonder, what happened to Tunde in this exam? You know, like I remember my home economics teacher. She was expecting me to get an A. And she was so eager when I did the exam. She went out of her way to get my results way ahead. She was so eager. And when the result came out, I got a C. She said, this is not this girl. This is not this girl. You know, she had an expectation. So we're not quite getting the desired result for each child in our classrooms, are we? It's not quite up to our expectations. Now, I want you to take a look. I hope you can see this very well. Can we see this very well? Now take a good look at it. Take a good look at this slide. It says for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam, like you and I always say. Please climb that tree. Everybody's taking the same exam. Please climb that tree. And who are the participants? We have a bird, a monkey, an elephant, you meet the dolphin, the penguin, elephant, a fish. Yes, and what? A dog. Now they are taking the same exam. And the exam is what? Does this sound familiar? Does this scenario, does it sound familiar to us? Yes. Yes. That's what you do in the classroom. That's what you do. Children from different backgrounds, children with different learning styles, some children, when you are teaching a topic, maybe fraction, maybe child A has done fractions before, knows it very well. Child B has never done it before. Child C did it a bit, didn't quite understand it. You know, children with different issues, they are in your classroom and then you give them the same exam because there's a standard you are looking at. And then you just say, all of you climb that tree. When you blow the whistle, Tell me what is going to happen. Who will get there first? The bird. The bird.
Okay, a bird.
Is it because the bird is smarter than the elephant?
No.
Is it because the monkey is smarter than the dog?
No.
Why? Why will the bird and the monkey get there first? They have some natural advantages. So I want to ask, is the test fair? Is it really fair?
No.
Is it really appropriate?
No.
Because the differences were not considered. The examiner doesn't want to know, this is a bird, this is an elephant, this is a fish. He doesn't want to know. All he wants is, you are all sitting for the same exam because I want it to be fair. So the exam is the same for Dolapo. It is the same for Shegun. It is the same for Bingpe. 1, 2, go. Papa! And the exam is over in seconds because the bird gets it first. Now, what does this imply to us as teachers? What does this tell you we need to do that we are not really doing to help our children? Because if you put these same animals in a different scenario, the bird will not win. The monkey will not win. So what does that tell you and I? What does that tell you we need to give attention to that we haven't really been giving attention to in the classroom?
Individual differences.
Yes, there's something we use to help individual differences. What is that? What is that? Differentiation. We do what? Difference. If you don't do differentiation, you are going to come out with the result this fellow will come out with. And will it be a correct result? Will it be accurate? It won't be accurate. So most of our results, they are not really accurate because there hasn't been any differentiation, no consideration of my learning style, no consideration of my learning preferences. And so we get all sorts. Yes, please.
Are you saying now that in a classroom, assuming I have 20 children, and I want to conduct an examination, and because of some of the children learning disability, I have to kind of separate questions for them?
How many of us deal with children with learning challenges? You deal with children with learning challenges. Do you employ differentiation techniques? Do you employ differentiation techniques? You do. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Like the child in my class,
yes.
I have one special one with challenge, with the challenges. So what I do is that that very one needs little attention span. So I ensure that I give him the attention span he needs. Then after that, allow him, because there is no way you force him to do when the attention he has. Yes. So and I treat him according to his attention span. Then to teach other ones with the length of their
But you see, some of these you can do, like some of our pupils, we give them bolder prints. That solves their problem in the exam. The others can have the normal, the font, the size 12 font, but others, maybe their font size will be 16. And some just need a little more time. Some need pictures in their exam. By the time you just, that little adjustment, they come out with the same excellent grade as the so-called brilliant pupils. Because they have certain challenges, you have not helped them. Okay? Let's move. Yes.
So what you are telling us in essence is that while the teacher was teaching in the class, we have to know the
she has to use
individual
differentiation.
differences.
When you are teaching differentiation needs to come in. What is the essence of knowing, okay, for example, you know that you have 5 children in your class, they are visual learners. You know, Madam talked about visual learners, those who want to see. You have 5 children in your class, they are kinesthetic, they are restless, they want to get their hands on things to do. You have 5 children in your class, they are auditory learners. Now, how are you going to work with these 3 learning styles? It's by differentiation. That's the whole topic for another day. So we need to find out about differentiation. I don't want to talk about it because that is not my paper. But differentiation solves the problem. Write your questions down because they are looking at my time already. Now, what can we do better? We've been carrying out assessments. We're not 100% satisfied with them. What can we do better? Of course, we've talked about differentiation. What else? What else? What else? Differentiation. Next. Now look at that. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Next slide. That's a food for you to think about. Now, types of assessment. We've talked about the kind of assessment we have been into. There are other types that will help us in the classroom. We have the diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment. Next slide. Now, the diagnostic assessment is before you teach. It is before you teach. And I would dare to tell you, probably in the first week of resumption, you need to diagnose abilities. You need to go back to the teacher who taught your child. Maybe you are in grade 2. Go and talk to the teacher who taught your child in grade 1, if it's within the same school. Find out about all the children being passed on to you. She has been with them for a whole year. She knows they are learning, whatever. You need to get a lot of information from the teacher who taught your child previously. Diagnostic. What does the student know about certain topics? How far did they go in fractions? Was this child able to grasp the concepts? You determine students' learning style at the beginning of the session. It's not a third term. It's not something you just discover. You purposely find out. Okay? Determine how well a student can perform certain skills. Maybe you are a PE teacher, you are an art teacher, whatever. And it should be at the beginning of study. Now, very quickly, I want to show us example of diagnostic assessments. Can I have someone from each table again? Let me see if you will make the same mistake. Someone from each table. Now, we're talking about diagnostic assessment. Now, what I want you to do on your table, I'm a teacher, I'm a science teacher. My topic for today is the solar system. That is what I want to teach. Now, we want to carry out diagnostic assessment. Write on that paper what you know about the solar system and attempt to draw it. You write what you know on one side, on the back side, draw the solar system. Nobody is wrong. You know it is diagnostic. So you don't go around and say, hey, what have you written? This is rubbish. There's nothing like that. Because you want to know what your children know before you start teaching.
I'm not the scientist. I'm not the scientist. What do you know about science? I know solar system deals with sun, the new energy.
You can never be wrong. Right?
Okay, anyway, it deals with sun,
energy.
with energy coming out of the solar system.
Pluto.
1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156
the solar system.
It consists of 9 planets, right?
I have written it.
Okay. Then the sun is at the middle.
And it's either 9 or 11.
Now, I want you to look at what you have written. Imagine as a teacher,
Down to this.
Yeah, something like sorry. Something like this.
because of our time, I was asked to hurry up, okay? If you collect this sheet of paper from your students and you take a look, will it tell you something about the amount of knowledge your children have about the solar system? Will it tell you something? Yes. You are not answering. Will it tell you a lot? Yes. It will tell you where they have mixed it up. Yes. It will tell you where they don't know at all. It will tell you also how much they know. Okay? So that is diagnostic. Now, I will try to hurry up. Next slide, please. The formative assessment is really where we are going. Okay? It determines their knowledge and skills. It also includes this diagnostic exercise we have talked about. It informs instruction. It guides learning. Let's go to the next slide. Sorry, we have to rush. Summative assessment is what most of us are used to. End of term, mid-term, at the end of whatever. You just assess the child, give them 10 questions, 20. That is summative assessment. Face your past without regret, handle your present with confidence, prepare. Next slide. Assessment tools. We do quiz, tests, presentations, projects, collection of pupils' work, exams that we're used to, demonstrations, ask your children to show you something, construct something. So these are various tools that we can use for assessment in the classroom. Next slide. Formative assessment helps identifying and responding to students' needs. Because you have assessed, I can look at Bolaji's work, maybe the diagnostic aspect I did, and I know that he needs to know more about this. He needs to know more about that. Bolaji already knows fractions very well, so I don't need to waste time. I'm not going to concentrate on him when I'm teaching fractions. But I see Dolapo. Dolapo does not know jack about fractions, so I need to spend more time with her. That is the beauty of formative assessment. And also, when I have assessed, I can decide that, more than 50% of my pupils they have issues with this topic. So I need to reteach, but I change my teaching style. So formative assessment informs decisions. I can change my teaching method, maybe to accommodate the visual learners or the kinesthetic. So you change your teaching method. And by the time you do that, you are going to get better results. Principles of effect of formative assessment of learning. It gives you a feedback to and from the children. It engages the children in their own learning. Then we said you can adjust your teaching and take account of the results. It also motivates. By the time she has done the diagnostic assessment, I can say, Bolaji, I can see this is beautiful. You drew the solar system. So you know that Saturn is there. There's something called Saturn. It's encouragement. You will not look at the child's work and say, this is rubbish. You mean you don't even know anything? You should not be in this class. Isn't it? So it can encourage your pupils. Benefits. I will round up on this. Benefits. Raises the level of student achievement. That's assessment of learning. It raises, because a child that you have assessed with summative assessment and you say he failed, by the time you do assessment of learning in the classroom, you diagnose, you support. You diagnose, you help. You fill in the gaps. That child will come out with a better grade, isn't it? So it improves the level of student achievement. improve the equity of students' outcomes. You won't be able to say that child is a dull child anymore. Because you have adjusted your teaching style, it has helped the child to come up. So he is now equal to the grade A students, isn't it? It builds students learning to learn skills. So these are the benefits of, next slide. These are the benefits of assessment of learning. Do we have any questions? I actually had some practical sessions, but I am told to round up. Any questions? Yes, please.
We want to appreciate you for the lecture. But just like you said now, different teaching styles, different kind of students and pupils in the class, and different learning styles and everything. I'm just worried how easy it would be to do all these adjustments and attend to all pupils.
That's what we talked about. We said differentiation is a topic for another day. Differentiation solves that problem. It is possible in, yes. You know, if I have the opportunity, I will show you how to differentiate in a class. You are teaching one topic and you are taking into consideration various learning styles. It's differentiation. Yes, another question. Maybe you invite me to your school, I'll come and teach.
A child that is phased or that have been used differentiation method for, how can that child face an external exam?
How can the child face? When you use different, it should be a part of you. Differentiation is not something that you do one-off. It's a practice. You use it, if possible, for as many lessons as possible. When you differentiate and you keep meeting the learning style of that child, you would have brought up the child. He can sit, that's why we said equity. He can sit and do the same exam as the A students. That's the whole essence. They'll be able to sit for the same exam because you have helped him all along. All the areas he had issues, you have attended to them. Yes, please. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Good afternoon.